Alright, on this video we'll work on the pieces' thickness. We don't want them to be as flat as paper sheets, but more voluminous. Let's start then. So far I had said it was advisable to keep these pieces within a subtool. Let's start separating some of them. The reason behind this is that there are some pieces which will need more details than the rest. They'll need more polygons, and we have to optimize the process to avoid the system crashing on us. For instance, let's duplicate for a moment this, and let's delete a piece from this subtool. The one we'll delete will be these shorts, since it'll have some accessories. We won't need it to have much detail, so we better keep it aside. All the rest of the pieces will need more detail. They'll be quite visible, by the way. I had already told you how to delete. Simply modify topology and delete hidden. Let's apply a zero measure quickly to all these pieces, so in that way they get a more similar polygons count. That will ensure we'll get the same quality of details. If we see over here, this middle piece, it's got smaller polygons and somehow with a better topology compared to the rest of the pieces, especially this one, and we need everything to be quite even. Over here, for the target polygons count could be 5, no problem, and hit zero measure. Alright. Now all these pieces share kind of the same amount of polygons. Maybe let's fix them a bit more. Another zero measure, like that. Why do I apply a zero measure more than once? That's because I like getting a more consistent and stable mesh. Meaning the polygons should have a similar size. Also, the space between polygons should be more even in order to get a mesh with an even level of detail. For instance, if we had polygons too big on this section, the detail to be applied will be lower compared to the sections with smaller polygons. So that's a tip I'd like you to keep in mind when generating your products. Alright, keeping on going. What we'll do here is to add some volume to all the pieces. Let's use a tool that exists from Zbrush 7, if I recall correctly, which I think is really useful. It's the Z-modeler. Once we have this brush enabled, we'll stand on the polygon, not on the vertex, neither the edges, but on the polygon, and we'll press a space bar to get this menu. As a default, it has a target and is enabled by default a single poly. It'll only work on a polygon, but we'll enable this option, polygon all. What this will ensure is that it'll grab a whole poly group, or all the pieces that belong to a poly group, and affect them all at the same time. I almost forgot. Besides that, we'll enable something else. We'll disable this Q mesh and we'll enable extrude. What's the reason? Both produce something quite similar. What they do is to generate volume to extrude. What makes Q mesh different is that, for instance, when extruding this piece, we make it wider. And if it gets too close to the polygons of the strap, they get mixed. For instance, a polygon coming from here would get connected to this piece. And we don't want that. We need independent pieces. So keep that in mind. We got polygroup all disabled. Alright. This way, I can organize the volume of each piece independently. These straps are a bit thicker. One over here and another one over here. The gloves obviously need certain volume, but it could be way less. And this one, like so, this way, the pieces get some volume and don't look so flat. And it's just about adjusting some things. For instance, using Move, we adjust this overlapping and make it more even. Over here, if we use the brush, smoothed, what could happen is that the thickness would disappear. So in this case, use just a brush move. We'll especially fix the strap area. The rest, since are fabrics, it's alright if they are curved and wavy. But leather is supposed to be more rigid. I think like that looks good. If needed, we can adjust it later on. I think it looks good there. Okay, I think like this is enough. If we think they should look more straight, we'll adjust them. Let's head to the shorts. Let's remove the rest we don't need. Delete hidden. And we'll also apply a zero measure process. This polygon won't actually have many polygons, so don't worry about certain shapes. Let's add some thickness as well. Alright, this is more than enough. Different to the other pieces, this won't get much detail, so we won't add so many subdivisions later. Alright, we'll still have one thing left to do. This is for the pieces we need to be sharp. I mean that the borders are quite sharp, with no soft curves. It's another option that Zmodeler has. What we'll do is to leave these borders rigid, meaning that when we apply smoothing, we don't get this curved, but sharp instead. The smoothing will be applied later on, manually. Over here, we'll stand right on the edges and press as well spacebar. Let's enable an option called crease. And we'll enable this option instead of single edge. We'll enable then this option, edge loop complete. Let's see what it does. After pressing it, hope you can notice we get some kind of dotted lines on the sides. That means this edge, this border, won't get smoothed at all, and that is perfect for the time we add subdivisions, so it doesn't get smooth. Also apply it to the one at the back. Here, 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 here. Let's make a quick test of what would happen if we didn't have it. Ctrl D, Ctrl D. If you notice over here, we can tell it got too smooth. Over here it is too curved. I like saying it melted. On the other hand, on the piece we have applied the crease, what happens is that the edge is kept sharp. Well, I missed this one over here. I didn't check it. One over here and another one over here. Alright. We've already got then some edges way sharper. Over here, over here, over here, and over here. Alright, this would be more than enough for this video. Before finishing the video, I'll teach you something. Before we finish with this video, I'll explain something. For making this volume, there is another tool called Extract. You'll probably see it on another course or on another video. I personally prefer this method because I think it's a bit complex to manage the values of Extract. You'll see later on, these values you see here are a bit difficult to manage. They can't be configured as easy as the values for the brushes on those sort of things. So that's one of the reasons why I don't like it. Also, is that with this method I've just taught, there is a chance that the pieces remain with independent polygroups. Let's grab only a piece. Each one of the faces, this one over here and this one over here, have a different polygroup. And that makes way easier, in case the PC is too loaded, to hide the parts I don't need. On a later stage, it could be possible we'll have to remove some parts. For instance, the portion inside here. I mean, the portion over the skin. This portion won't be visible, so in order to optimize the process, we'll consider the possibility of removing these inner faces. If we use the struct, it would be a bit more difficult to select these faces I don't need and delete them. Alright, this is it for the time being. Hope you liked the video, and I'll see you then on the next one.